Bitch, listen up. Now, for today's topic, I'm gonna have to ask one of y'all to close the door because there may be some little childrens walking by down the hallway. And the topic of conversation is adults only. Welcome to Girl, Get Your Act Together. Envy is pain at the good fortune of others, says Aristotle. Envy blinds men and makes it impossible for them to think clearly, said Malcolm X. Never underestimate the power of jealousy and the power of envy to destroy. Never underestimate that, said Oliver Stone. The comparison game. Ladies and gentlemen, today on Girl Get Your Act Together, we are talking about the social comparison game. Yes, there's a psychology behind it. This is what you need to hear. Before you think about why are we talking about comparing ourselves, we should not be comparing ourselves to other people. Yes, you should. Sometimes you need to compare yourselves to other people in the stations they are in life to see if you're exactly where you're supposed to be. For example, at certain ages, let's say when you should be in college or in trade school or in the military, like between 18 and 24, then you're going to compare. If you're just somebody who decided to go to high school and then do nothing else, but work at the car wash, not like that's not an honorable job. But if you see other 19 to 24-year-olds moving and shaking in higher education and doing all those other things, you might be like, it looks like my homeboy from high school is in his third year of the military. Or, looks like my homegirl is about to graduate from college. And I'm still working at the car wash because it was going to make me more money on day one right after high school graduation making tips. Well, you need to compare yourself to other 18 to 24-year-olds to see exactly where you're shaking out in the professional realm. All right. Now, if you're a person who's in that 25 to 35 range, and let's talk about relationships. If you're a person who says that they desire to get married or be betrothed to somebody else later on, then you possibly need to compare yourself with your other homegirls or your homeboys. If you're going to the club at 21 when you just started drinking, that's where you need to be, between 21 and 25, kicking it. Now, if at 25 to 30, you're looking around like, well, it looks like I've been kicking it so long that I've just been dating and just hanging out with scrapes for the last 5 or 6 years, just kicking it. And at 30 years old, if you find yourself surrounded by your friends who are now getting married or engaged or in committed relationships that's going to lead to a permanent future with somebody, then you need to compare yourself to where are you compared to where your friends are in your social circle when it comes to relationships and dating. In your career choice, if you now are already married, you've all got married and all your friends are married, but your friends are now having children and you're in that 30 to 35 range or 30 to 37 range and you still haven't had kids yet, and that's something that you've been trying to do. You're probably comparing yourself to your friends that now have children. So it's okay. It is all the way okay to compare yourself to other people in certain circumstances. The comparison game does matter. All right? The comparison. Now, what it means, comparison or comparing, according to Wikipedia, is the act of evaluating two or more things by determining the relevant, comparable characteristics of each thing, and then determining which characteristics of each are similar to the other, which are different, and to what degree. Social comparison is what we're talking about today. Social comparison refers to a behavior where we compare certain aspects of ourselves, i.e., our behavior, opinions, status, and success to other people so that we have a better assessment of ourselves. That's according to Bunk and Givens that they wrote in 2007. Bunk and Givens in 1909 said that social comparison is motivated by three drivers. Number one, get your pens out, or get your notes out, or just listen up real good. Self-evaluation. Do a self-evaluation. Where am I in my life? Where am I as far as my behavior, my opinions, my status, and my success? Number two, self-improvement. What things can I do to make myself better? Am I getting better? I see my friends in my close social circle are doing better. Like I'm still living with my mom and them, and they're now having their first mortgage. Got it? Self-enhancement. Now, Now, what do I need to do to enhance my social standing? A whole lot. If you're a person that's not engaged socially, not in tune politically, or just not doing anything, and you're still stuck in quarantine post-COVID, then maybe your social enhancement needs to be upgraded. The concept of social comparison has expanded dramatically. All right? Now, Leon Festinger in 1954, I'm giving you some history behind this before I launch into my diatribe so you can have some backstory to my front story, okay? This is necessary because we're always saying, don't go on the gram trying to compare your life to other people. Well, sometimes you need to go on there and compare your life. If you're feeling like kind of a loser, go out there and look and see what the winners are doing. Maybe it'll rub off on you. If you're feeling like you're not doing the right thing with your job, maybe if you look around your employers, if you're at work and you're realizing that you're cutting out after like 7 hours a day and everybody else is working 9 hours, maybe you need to stay a little bit longer. If everybody in your socials or your professional circle at work is taking a 30-minute lunch break and you seem to be going to get your nails done at the lunch break for like 90 minutes, then maybe you need to dumb it down and do like your friends are doing. Sometimes comparing yourself to other people in your professional workspace and in your private life matters. You need to do it. That way you know if you're doing the right thing. It even goes when you're driving. Like when I was driving my daughter the other day, I was driving Miss Daisy, driving like 60, and everybody around me seemed to be going 75 and 80. Well, I needed to scoot up a little bit or get out of the fast lane. So comparing myself to other drivers, it means the fast traffic is moving quickly, so I need to speed it up. You need to compare yourself to see if you are actually measuring up. Did you hear that? I know this is not what people are teaching you. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Who cares what they're doing? March yourself to the beat of a different drummer. No, you need to be drumming along the same drum beat. Social comparison matters. Now, I already told you the 3 things that Gibbons and Bunk said: self-evaluation, self-improvement, and self-enhancement. There's nothing wrong with those 3 things. Well, Leon Festinger in 1954 argued that we are driven to assess our abilities and opinions to, number 1, determine whether we are good enough, that's our abilities, or correct, those are our opinions, and number 2, to set a benchmark of what we aim to achieve. This benchmark is referred to as the level of aspiration. Now, I've told you many times that on The Housewives and on all the reality shows, they don't want basic Bettys on the show. The producers are looking for women who have a certain lifestyle, aspirational lifestyles. Aspirational lifestyles that are hard to attain. They want the women that are sitting there at home, looking at magazines, at Vogue magazines, looking at Louis Vuitton, Prada, Gucci, Fendi, and all the runway shows, knowing they could never afford it, but they would aspire to one day afford it by, number 1, increasing their employment, getting their bag together, not their shopping bag, but their money bag. Like if they're looking at women that are fit on Instagram or women that are fit out there, I'm not talking about you women that are trying to idolize Lizzo, trying to get heart disease. No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about women who are like, you know what? I picked up a few pounds. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I need to start working out more. If you see your friends out there working out, or if you see somebody on Instagram getting their body together, then that's you doing a self-evaluation saying, I need to do some self-improvement. So self-enhancement is okay. Social comparison can be useful because it provides us a way to determine if we are on the right track, but it can also be extremely harmful. I'll talk about the harms later, but the strategy that we seek to better understand our status relating to ability, opinion, emotional reaction, and more are by comparing ourselves to other people. When you talk about your opinions, okay, you can have political opinions, like your opinion about the environment. If you're okay with still dumping your trash out of your window when you're driving, you're still being a litter bug, and you ignored Texas's signs, don't mess with Texas. They had a huge campaign that went on for several years in Texas to get people to stop littering on the highway. So now we have one of the cleanest highways. It's very rare to see the garbage pickers and the people that are out on bond picking up trash along the highway, because Texans really generally don't throw things out of their windows, because social comparison caused us to think that we would be frowned upon if somebody saw you throwing that Coca-Cola can out the window. That's what social comparison does in a healthy way. When it comes to your opinion about politics, Let's take the MAGA movement. The social comparison for Republicans inside their own party is like Republicans, they have certain conservative issues that they all espouse to. Well, in the MAGA sect, they're more an extremist. So the Republicans inside the Republican Party would not compare themselves to the MAGA Republicans. The MAGA Republicans have their own conservative base. They're very extreme and led by Marjorie Taylor Greene and the crazies. So if you're a Marjorie Taylor Greene person in the MAGA movement, inside the MAGA movement, you're comparing yourself to Marjorie Taylor. If you're just a regular Republican, you may be comparing yourself to Mitt Romney, the old school GOP. Now, let's see. If you're talking about social comparison in a way that can enhance your life, that's one thing. Now let's talk about the reality. Now, if you are in a setting where you're comparing yourself to the wrong social circle, now we're going to take it to the self-improvement, self-enhancement, and self-evaluation. Here's where it gets a little tricky. Now, we all know that teenage girls, according to all the studies, teenage girls end up falling into a depression or having very insecure ability. I mean, they become more and more insecure the more that they're on Instagram. Let's take, for example, because of AI, if you search for something on Instagram or let's just say anywhere, if you have AI, if you're like weight loss, everybody's doing the weight loss drug Ozempic, not me because I don't need it. But if you're doing a weight loss drug or if you're searching up diets, then if you're on your social media feeds, you're going to see that Instagram is automatically going to send you all of these workout women who got these bodies that got itty bitty waists and big old booties or sometimes no booty at all because they worked it all off. Then you might be watching my 600-pound life and then looking at Instagram, and because you've searched up weight loss, it may send you all the people that are size 2 and size 4. So that may make you even more insecure and slip into a depression. Now, that's not what you want. That's what the danger of social comparison can lead you to. Now, what I'm going to talk about today on Girl Get Your Act Together is how this deals with you comparing yourself to people that you don't relate to. All right. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Now here's where I'm going to do some teaching and preaching. So if you're feeling a little bit insecure, this ain't the show for you. You need to be listening in though. Now, where it gets a little bit confusing is when women and men go on social media and they look at their friendship circle. Now, you may have 5,000 friends on Facebook, but you're not looking at all their stuff. You don't follow everybody. Or you may have a lot of people that you follow on Instagram. Who are you following? Are you looking at your friends? Now, in the pandemic era, we spent a lot of time on social media, just scrolling, where everybody was looking in their feeds to see exactly what people were doing when they were locked up in quarantine. Some people decided to go on a weight loss journey, like Fat Amy. They used to call her Fat Amy, but now she's skinny. Adele, who used to be fat, now she's skinny. All these women who went in hiding during quarantine then came out skinny. And then you saw the Kardashians going in there with their big booties and their big boobs. And they came out of the quarantine like, okay, well now big booties and boobs are not in anymore. So if you were comparing your body to Kim Kardashian's and what the other Kourtney Kardashian, all the Kardashian girls who have big booties, then you're like, I need a big booty too. So now I'm a big booty Judy. The problem is you're comparing yourself to a Kardashian who is, number one, not in your circle. If they are not in your circle, now by circle, I don't mean somebody that you can reach out and touch. I mean somebody that, comparatively speaking, you have things in common with. If you're sitting on your couch eating bonbons and you're not working and your man is kind of broke, you really shouldn't compare your life to Kim Kardashian, who's a billionaire. I think she's a billionaire. She might be. Maybe one of those sisters are. But to a woman who, number one, has her own money, number two, doesn't need a man for anything, and number three, has a plastic surgeon on speed dial and can afford to get a big booty Judy and get it deflated at will. Now, if you're a black woman that's comparing yourself to Black China, thinking, okay, I want to be like Black China, well, number one, you don't have the stripper skills. So your body's not going to be like her, getting that body like she used to have. And number two, you may not have all the money that it takes to deflate your face, deflate your boobs, and deflate your waist, and deflate your booty like Black China. So if you're sitting at home as one of those women who says, I really, really, really want to be like Black China, so you spend all your money try to make yourself into the body of Black China, who made $100 million off of OnlyFans, and now that Black China no longer wants to be like Black China, now she's just Angela. She got her face deflated, and you're still stuck with the puffy face and the puffy booty. Now you don't have the money as Black China had to get all that stuff undone. When you thought that comparing yourself to those women, because they were who you thought that you wanted to be like. If you compare yourself to women and you're a Hyundai trying to compare yourself to a Bentley, baby, you don't have the same engine. You don't have the same tires. So that's going to cause you to go into some mental shafuckery, excuse the language, but this is an adult show, that's going to make you feel even more insecure and lead to depression. That's not where the business is, okay? Now, here's why you need a group that fits you. The benefits of social ties aren't just limited to a dose of I'm going to feel good, but when you spend time in a social circle with people you love, either the social bonds benefit your big picture well-being, or when it comes to living a long and healthy life, one meta-analysis found that strong social relationships mattered more than being a healthy weight and were comparable with quitting smoking. See, if you're in the right social comparison, it's good mentally for you. Your friends can drive you to do better. Your friends can drive you to want better for yourself. They can drive you to look better. Be like, girl, my girlfriend's been working out. I got to stop eating this ice cream every day. I may not need to go get that butter pecan ice cream anymore. I just had some last night and it was very good. But I will probably not eat any today because I'm like, well, I got to compare myself to some people who are out there in my weight class and they're not eating bonbons every night. So now, through introverts, though introverts relax, longevity doesn't require you to be surrounded by a lot of people all the same time. Now, if you're stuck in a rut and you're stuck at home and wondering why your life isn't going so well, some people went into quarantine, saw their friends come out of quarantine and be fit and fine, like bam, 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 waist is popping, the boobs are popping, booty popping, they look better. They got their skin and all their acne is gone, their hair has grown out, the edges are back, their ice is popping, it looks like they're in a different space in life. And you're like, dang, I didn't use my quarantine time very well. Some of you are stuck in quarantine, in hiding. I had people that didn't want to come to my birthday party. They said I wasn't fine enough. I was like, really? Yeah, I haven't been looking good over the quarantine. I didn't feel confident enough to come to your party because I was too fat. Okay, I get it. Well, if you are one of those people that is stuck in your solo silo because you're doing the comparison game with people that have now surpassed you, then you need to get out of your social silo. You must before you become stuck and depressed. Now, if you find yourself so far apart from those people that they left you behind, find a new crew. Let me tell you something. You have to sometimes realize that you have either gone too far below your crew of who you compare yourself. You might have a group of 7 or 8 people that are the ones that you actually hang out with when you want to go out for drinks, or the ones that you actually want to travel with when you want to go traveling. Now, if you're no longer in the same, if they're all booty popping, boobs popping, waist skinny, or if you're with your homeboys and they all been working out, they fixed their hairline, they're now dyeing their hair black, and you decided to be Papa Smurf. Well, you don't need, if you're Papa Smurfing it, going out there with the silver foxes, you decided to be all gray, well, you need to start hanging out with the gray men. But the men in your crew who are all still jet black, you can't hang with them anymore because the women that see them going out are going to think those men are in their 30s. And the women that see Papa Smurf at the club, they know you 50 plus. They think that you might be on Viagra. They think you may not be getting it up. So that's a different level of women that you're going to attract. You're going to attract the bopper who wants somebody to pay her cell phone bill. Or you're going to attract the woman who's in menopause that doesn't have to worry about children. Now, if that's not what you're trying to present to the world, men out there, then I suggest you dye your hair black. But if you're one of those men that's like, I'm still working out, I'm still eating my Wheaties, I'm running every day, I'm on the treadmill, I'm still popping, I'm getting my car waxed up on the weekends, I'm still going out to the bar, then maybe if you're still popping, you need to hang out with those men, not hanging out with the Papa Smurf silver foxes. Do you get my drift? If all of your friends have gone silver fox and you're still in the black hair crew because God blessed you with still jet black hair, or you're dying it or doing whatever you got to do to keep it, then you have to change your circle. You can't compare yourself with them guys that are going silver foxes because they're either getting old lady pussy or too young pussy that can't pay their bills. Now, For the women out there, if you decided to go fatty way and just decided to eat up everything, you don't need to hang around with your skinny friends anymore. No, because you're going to want to sit at home and go to the movies, and they'll want to go to the club or go to brunch on Sunday at the Sunday Fun Day. If you're not able to go to Sunday Fun Day, you need to sit your butt at home eating bonbons. You need to change your circle. You have to. Let me tell you something. In a group setting, and here's where you need to put in your listening ear. Not all group members are included in comparisons. Within a group, there may be an individual whose ability or opinion diverges significantly from the other members, all right? In such instances, this individual is no longer considered a viable comparison and is no longer included in comparisons. Let's just take, for example, if you got a friend who y'all are all homegirls. Now, y'all are all still single, looking for a man. You don't have any kids. She's now gotten married to a gazillionaire. He bought her a Bentley. She moved to Beverly Hills, and she's now got a personal trainer on speed dial and a plastic surgeon on speed dial. Well, guess what? You don't need to be comparing yourself to her anymore. You need to take her out of your little small group comparison equation, because what's going to happen to your little group? Your group will become insecure around her. She's moved to LA, next door to the Powerball winner, so her house is $35 million. Now she's like, oh, I'm skinny Winnie. I got new implants and a new booty, and yeah, I'm hanging out with the Kardashians. I'm going on the red carpet because my husband's a zillionaire. And y'all are still back out there talking about we're going to Sunday Fun Day in Houston. Well, she's no longer in your circle. She has moved on out of your circle. It doesn't matter if you've been friends for 25 years anymore. You're not friends anymore. You're not friends anymore. You know each other socially. History should never cause you to still compare yourself to that person. Because what it'll do for you, you will never, ever, ever be able to measure up with the lady who has changed her stratosphere. Period. I'm just saying, it's only going to make you insecure. According to Leon Festinger, he said, when the person is no longer a viable comparison, Festinger argued that the outcome is even more severe in cases when we compare our opinions, because this divergent individual poses such a threat to our evaluation of our own views that we consider them removed from the group and will no longer talk to them. Group membership plays an essential role in evaluations, according to Festinger. When group membership and conforming to group norms are desirable, then we are more likely to reject members who are very different from us. These members are no longer included in our social comparisons. If we feel that the quality that is being compared is important, then we are also motivated to conform to the group's behaviors and opinion. Now, here's why you need a group that fits you. Now, you can have a healthier mental and you can have an overall healthier lifestyle physically. I already told you that. So, when you think about a group setting and you think about who you're comparing, compare yourself to your friends, okay? Don't be a hater. Okay, I'm not telling you to be a hater. I'm saying compare yourself to your friends in your circle. When one person has moved to another stratosphere, that person is no longer in your circle. That person is finding a new circle. They are. They still gonna call you sometimes if they come back to visit. If they come back to the low-lying territory to visit your low-lying asses, they'll say, hey, girl, what's up? She's not gonna be taking Uber everywhere. She's parking her Bentley at the valet. That's what she's doing. She may even have a driver. He may even have a driver. If you find yourself as the isolated person who stayed a chubby when all your friends decided to work out like Adele, okay, or Fat Amy and lose a bunch of weight. If everybody got fit and fine after quarantine and you stayed fat, you need to find your fat girl tribe. You need to audition for Lizzo's Dancers. She got 3 spots that just opened up. But what I'm trying to say is when you're looking for your new circle, because you need to find one, you cannot stay stuck in a silo. When you're looking for a circle, do not expect instant BFFs. Do go on social media. Sometimes you can find people in the tribes on social media, in the friend groups on Facebook. I don't really know. Do they have Instagram, Facebook, Instagram tribes? I don't know. But on Facebook, you can go in different friendship groups and have like-minded people. Like you might find your environmentalist group. You might find people who have lost a child. You may find people who are changing careers. You may find people that want to do whatever that you're interested in. And then you can find friends that way. Sometimes you can be like, you can even localize where you find your new friends. You can find your new tribe right where you live. You can even do it in your own neighborhood. If you decide you want to find new friends, why don't you go for a walk at the same time every day? If you're one of those stay-at-home mommies that once you get your kids off to school, or if you have your own business, if you're a guy, then once you get your reports done, once you send out your invoices, maybe you need to go to the gym and work out at the same time every day. If you do something consistently, you're going to meet other people that are doing the same time. If you guys already have the same schedule, you're going to eventually be able to strike up a conversation. Let me tell you why. Research suggests that it takes 34 hours of time together for an acquaintance to elevate to a friend. 34 hours. It's a concept called mere exposure, meaning you're more likely to make a close friend at a weekly running club than at a wedding. So if you meet somebody at a wedding, if you met somebody last month at a wedding, you're not going to see them again. You may run into them again 6 months down the road when they say we're having a baby shower because we're pregnant, but you're going to talk 1 hour and just hang out with them. Be like, oh, they were so fun to hang out, but you're not going to call them. You don't live in the same place. But if you decide to join a tribe, whatever, you might want to be in a book club. If you're fortunate enough to be in a social organization already, like a fraternity, a sorority, a gardening club, a tea party club, a fitness club, if you got your workout tribe, if you're doing it consistently, make friends with the people who are already like-minded doing the same thing you're doing. If you find that your former tribe has either outgrown you or you've outgrown them. Let me tell you something, and this is why it matters. I'm going to tell you that the comparison game really does mess people up. And when a person moves so far beyond what the other people are doing in their lives, the bitches still in the club will kick a bitch out in a heartbeat. Let me tell you what happened. And this, you don't even have to watch The Real Housewives, but in one of the Real Housewives franchises, Shannon Bedore and the other housewives on The Real Housewives of Orange County, there's a woman on there named Heather Dubrow. She, by all intents and purposes, was the queen of the show until they brought Tamra Judge back. Now, Heather Dubrow was the queen of the OC. She often looked down and flaunts her grotesque display of wealth. Now, the level of wealth that she has, she is married. She's well suited for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But because she lives in the OC, she's the OC housewife, and that's where she started. And also, she didn't have the money at the very beginning when she first started on the show. Now she has amassed great wealth. Her husband, Terry Dubrow, is a Hollywood plastic surgeon. His office is in Orange County, but as of the show finale, she just alluded that her husband was moving to LA. Their money's up, so they're moving on up, like the Jeffersons. Do you think George Jefferson was still hanging with the scrubs down there? No, he was not hanging at Cabrini Green or whatever the Bronx or Brooklyn projects he was from. When he moved on up, he started hanging up with people that were living in the same building that he was living in. Well, Heather, she was living in a 30,000 square foot mansion, which made her house one of the largest homes in Orange County. And her husband, where they were on the show, she was the queen of the show. She had all the friends, even though she looked down on them. She was very condescending and very elitist. She was the queen. Now, this season, it appears that at the beginning of the season, she had her tribe. She was the queen. Throughout the season, the women started hating on her more and more and more and more and more. The divorced bitches started hating on her. The bitches that ended up broke started hating on her. The bitches that lost their jobs started hating on them. The bitches with criminal records, got a couple of DUIs now there, started hating on her. They all started hating on her and being more condescending and catty. As a group, they decided to revolt against her. Then she and her husband sold their home that they had just moved into like last year. They sold their home for $55 million. All right. That $55 million made their home the most expensive home in Orange County, period. That elevated Heather to a different social stratosphere. Now she is in the realm of Lisa Vanderpump. She may have more money than Lisa Vanderpump because Lisa Vanderpump's restaurants closed down. and the women of the Beverly Hills franchise. So when they sold their home and decided that, okay, now that the Arabs are moving in, we now have to live in this nice little temporary place that we're living in, and then we're moving to LA, and they got a penthouse in LA. So they're changing their zip code. Well, the other women decided to use that measure as a reason to mean girl her. They all revolted. They started making up bogus lies, started talking about, she thinks she's all that. Every single thing that Heather Dubrow did, whether it was a comment, even if it was not even a slightly malicious comment, they all revolted against her. All of the women in that crew realized that Heather was now so far beyond their stratosphere that they now wanted to kick her out. And she even said, I think I'm leaving the show. They're all just being mean to me for no other reason. One of the women on the show said to her, she said, I don't know why they're hating me so much. Why are they saying that? Why are they picking apart every single thing I do, every single thing I say? They were on a trip to Mexico. They ran the bitch off. She had to go and call her millionaire husband and say, baby, I'm coming home. These women are taking me through it. They all hate me. If they don't even like me, they don't want me on the show. I don't want to do the show anymore. She was crying. Terry said, baby, you shouldn't even care. I was thinking, bitch, you got 55 million reasons not to give a fuck about what they think. But I'm not her friend like that, so I couldn't call her. The reality is this. What she didn't realize was whether those women are your friends or not. Human nature says they simply cannot accept your new level of success by any measure. The broke bitches got a band together. No, they're not broke. I'm just calling them the broke bitches because they don't have 55 M's. What I'm saying is they don't have the husband like you have. They don't have 5 children that are all off in college. They didn't have the money to go up there and fly the furniture to the NYU and go and do all of this extra. They had more housekeepers and staff than they had people in their family, okay? Heather Dubrow is rich. The moment her husband said, we closing that deal on that $55 million, he said, we gonna get us a PJ. You know, that means private jet. Now you're talking like Beyonce and Jay-Z. And guess what? Terry Dubrow and Heather Dubrow, he's a plastic surgeon. They're also jealous that she gets free tweaking every time she wants it. She's going to look young forever, okay? So those levels of success, when you do a social comparison with somebody who's been in your circle for 12 years, at the same level, but Bravo gives, or E! Entertainment gives Terry his own plastic surgeon show, cha-ching. Heather Dubrow decides to, well, when they weren't hiring her as an actress in Hollywood, because she's 52, 53, or whatever, she's 50-something, her husband decides to buy her own network, social network, so she can have her own stuff called the High Definition Channel, HD. The bitches were at her house, at her mansion before she sold it. She had a luncheon and they were hating on her because HD, the label, was everywhere. They're like, oh, you have HD everywhere. Well, bitch, the name of the network is called HD. What'd you expect her to have? They were hating on the food, hating on the decor, mad that her name was Heather Dubrow, and mad that she had her own network. You had Tamara Judge, who had to close down her workout studio because it wasn't making any money. Her husband doesn't have a job. She went on the show just trying to make a mint, and it didn't really work out. Then you got the lawyer on there whose husband's took the bar 75 million, billion, trillion times and just passed. She's a lawyer that wasn't practicing law, that was really an event planner because she couldn't cut it as a lawyer. Now she's like, oh. And first of all, she's like 7 feet taller than her husband, 3 feet 6. And then she was a fatty from the South and got on Ozempic and started losing weight. You got all these women with issues. You got the other one on there, Shannon, what's her name? Shannon Bedore, whose husband divorced her for a bitch that she had on the show. Her husband divorced her, got married to the new bitch and having a baby, and all her daughters are leaving. Then she had issues with her boyfriend and they just broke up. You have all these women with issues on the show, and then Heather Dubrow, whose life is damn near perfect. Do you hear me? Perfection. And now she's even $55 million more in the green. So of course they're going to be mad at her. So they pummeled her to death. They stuck it to her. And all I thought was, you have to know when to leave your group. When your tribe no longer fits you socially, that's when you have to implore what Leon Festinger said back in what Gibbons and Bunk said in 1999. Your social comparison is motivated by three drivers: self-evaluation, self-improvement, and self-enhancement. Now, Heather Dubrow, her self-improvement and her self-enhancement elevated her ass to a different stratosphere. She's in a parallel universe that has nothing to do with them broke bitches that were in her former universe. And the self-evaluation that the leftover women did made them feel more insecure about their marriages, more insecure about their lifestyle, more insecure about their bodies, because Heather Dubrow walked into the finale episode looking like she was a size 2. She only been eating one grape a week, and all the other bitches have to be on Ozempic. And that's another thing. When the women out there who are feeling some type of way and insecure about their bodies, they're getting on Ozempic. They're like, oh, I'm on Ozempic. On the Real Housewives of Atlanta, what's her name? Marlo Hampton went to the reunion, and you had Kenya Moore, who needs Ozempic. She needs to do some weight loss within her breasts and her butts, and those breasts and butts are no longer in style. But she started hating on Marlo for being thin. And she knew she was sitting up there with a fake face, fake boobs, fake abs, fake booty, and bad skin, and now with fake hair. But you want to be mad at Marlo for being on Ozempic for now that she's thinner than Kenya. Now Kenya's mad. So what do you have to do? You have to think. Marlo, now let me take Marlo. Marlo went from being that hoe over there, which is thought, okay? From that hoe over there to that prisoner over there, to fighting Lenithia Leaks, to then being a friend of the show, then no longer a friend of the show, then being the friend of the show again for umpteen seasons, and then getting a peach. When she got the peach, it elevated Marlo's level to now be on the Housewives. Now she's a housewife that ain't never been married. Because Marlo understood, I can elevate myself, bitch, because I did a self-evaluation and realized, number one, I know what it takes to be a housewife, and ain't none of y'all bitches married. That's number one. Well, Candy's married, but that's kind of like weird because she's like a sponsor to her husband anyway. But number two, Marlo was like, I'm going to keep my fashions together so I can be compared to the women on the show. Number three, Marlo inherited some children from her deadbeat sister who's in jail half the time because she got mental shafuckery. So Marlo did all the things that those women in the social circle that she wanted to be in were doing, and the producers took note of that. Marlo gets on the show, and Kenya Moore Horde decided to hate on Marlo every single episode. And even at the finale, you saw all the women who were jealous that Marlo See, here's another thing. If bitches see another woman elevating themselves, men do it too. They will do whatever to close the circle, keep the bitch out, but the producers got to determine who was going to get the peach, not the actual people on the show. And Marlo held her own. She was looking good. She didn't act like a crazy banshee. She tried to elevate her thought processes. She got her edges sewn in, or she got them glued in, or she got whatever she got her edges back. She got her edges back. She got that body right. She got on some Ozempic. And you know what? Where Heather Dubrow left her old raggedy bitches on OC behind, Marlo elevated herself, and now that she's trying to get her cases expunged, she's going to say, I'm tired of y'all talking about I'm a criminal. Yeah, I cut a bitch across the face, but guess what? I got a peach now, and Andy Cohen likes her. And guess what? I paid a subscription to follow Marlo. Yes, I did. I don't follow none of them other thoughts. None of them. Why would I follow Candy? She married a loser. Why would I follow Kenya? She's just fake and she can't even stay married. She bought her husband. Now he wants to leave her. Why would I follow any of those other women? I don't want to be anything like them. But I follow Marlo because I like to follow women who can do something for themselves on their own. Do you hear me? So guess what, Georgia? You got a new peach. And guess what? Guess what, OC? You lost a housewife because I really feel like Andy Cohen, Heather Dubrow has solidified herself to take a place on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because the bitch is changing her zip code. You heard her. And now that she got 55 M's and a PJ, Erica Jane, well, that bitch is broke. Heather Dubrow, Hats off to you. I can't wait to see the new seasons. Ladies and gentlemen out there, the comparison game is real. Know which circle to compare yourself to. Know when you need to leave your circle, and know when you need to elevate yourself to the next circle. Okay? And if you're still a fatty and you want to be skinny, go get on some Ozempic. Now, you may get stomach paralysis. You may get Ozempic face and Ozempic butt. But if you don't die, then stay on it. But the moment you stop it, do know you will be a fatty. And then you can try for one of the 3 free spots in Dancing for Lizzo. That's all I have for Girl, Get Your Act Together. I hope you've enjoyed this segment. Please, 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 don't compare yourself to me. I do shit in private. I don't have a circle. All right, bye, everybody. For those of you women out there, I've been in this situation. Don't be embarrassed. It could happen to you.